Okay, let's get started. I'm back here again with a new Fusion 360 design page, and I'm going to start with a sketch on the front face this time. Since we're using the Revolve tool, what I'll show you today is how to draw out the profile of the vase that we want to make. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the line tool and stretch it up to create our first center line. Remember to start it at the origin. And now we're also going to make it a center line in the settings using 2 fingers and clicking center line in this menu. I'm going to be using this line as a reference for the height of the vase as well, so I'll just set it to the height that I want, but you can do whatever you prefer. And next, I think with this vase I'm going to try to start the shape with I'll start it with the flat part of the bottom, but I'm going to then use a spline line to control the contours of it. So I think I want it to start out like something like this, and maybe go up to the end, go flat to the top. So click OK when I want to finish my line, and I'm just going to connect this line back to the top of the center line. Sometimes it's hard to click the dot, so you can also just drop it anywhere and then drag it afterwards. But you see here now we have a perfect shape, and we can drag it and edit it as we like, but of course first we have to worry about some of our constraints. So I'm going to use the horizontal tool to make this line straight. This line is already straight, so that's okay. And then next I'm going to set a dimension for this part. I think I'll set it to 40. Let's see how that looks. It's a little bit large, so let's try 30. That's better. And now I can just go ahead and edit the shape of the vase using the splines. I'm also going to set this top dimension maybe to 20, and we can see how that looks later. It's always possible to fix it. I just wanted to change this angle a little bit, so clicking the spline points and moving these green dots. So now that I like the general shape, I think I'm also going to add a small base to it. So let's see. For the base, I'm just going to take a rectangle and draw it from one edge to the other, and we can zoom in. And we can also make sure that the rectangle is perfectly on the center line as well. I'll have to set a dimension for this one too, so let's try 10. 10 looks a little bit large, so maybe try something like 7. That looks a little bit better. And if we don't like the shape, we can also always change it later. One thing I'm actually going to do is I'm going to insert a new spline point on this line. I'll have to click escape to stop inserting points, but I'm going to use that to just slightly change the angle here. I want it to stick out a little bit. This looks good for me, so I'm going to finish sketch. And now what I'll show you how to do is use the Revolve tool. It should be at the top left, right next to the extrude, but we'll click the Revolve tool, and we can click both of the faces that we want. So it looks like it's having a hard time selecting the second face. I'm going to delete the profiles and let's try again. Yeah, so it looks like it's not able to select multiple faces right now, but we can always go back and edit it later. So for now, I'll select the main contour, and I'll do OK. And then I'm going to select, let's see, I'm going to edit the last revolve we made, so it should be down here. And I'm going to use 2 fingers and click Edit Feature. Now we see that we are able to select the second face. Sometimes the program isn't always able to. I'm not sure why, but you can always re-edit the feature after you make it. So I'll click OK. And now this is the shape of our vase. You can check the shape, and you can also edit the sketch to make it a little bit different if you realize you want it to look some other way, but it's completely up to you. I'm just going to go ahead and change the shape to how I want right now. And one thing I'm actually going to do is, instead of having this rectangle be completely at the edge, so that our base starts at the edge, I'm going to try to draw it from a little bit below, from a little bit closer to the center around here. So to do that, I can delete this dimension, and I can zoom into this point and use 2 fingers to click and do delete coincident. Now this line isn't snapped to the rectangle, and the other line is also not snapped to the rectangle. It's always a little bit hard with all of these lines, but we know that one has to connect to the rectangle, so I'll pull out one and snap it here, and the other one has to connect to the line that the vase is on. Now I'm also going to delete this dimension and just set it again to between these points where the vase is, should be 25. And now I'll try to select the line that has the rectangle, and you'll notice I can move it back and forth. This is just a matter of looking at which points are connected, and to delete the way they're like stuck together, you can always use 2 fingers like I said, and delete the coincident. Now, I'm just going to set a different dimension for this face then. Let's try 20. Zooming out, we can look at the whole shape. And yeah, I think, let's see, this looks a bit better. I'll try using the fillet tool, and I'll round out some of the edges to see how that looks. This looks like a good shape to me after using the fillet tool on these 2 edges. So now I'm going to go ahead and use this shell tool, which we had practiced before, to make the vase hollow. So I'm going to click the tool and I'm going to click the top face. Now I want it to go inside, and I want the thickness of the wall to be, let's say, 4. Maybe that's a little bit thick, so I'll change it down to 3, and you'll notice it's already starting to show us what it'll look like, but I'll click OK, and once you change the view, you'll notice that inside we have this perfectly hollow vase, and since we also had the base as part of the same shape, you'll notice that there is a small indent on the inside, where the bottom of the vase is, to keep the wall thickness the same. And if you don't want that, one thing you can do is select this bottom face, use the extrude tool, and you can do the distance to 2 object, set it to 2 object, and we can try to turn around our view and select the face that's a little bit higher than it. Now you'll see that the whole bottom is leveled. It's a little bit thicker, but that's also okay, so we'll click OK, and yeah. The last thing we might do is go ahead and add our fillets to the top of the vase, just to make it a little bit smoother. I'm just going to do, let's see, looks like 2 is too much, so I'll start with 1. 1 looks alright. And here we have it, our very own vase.